Hi everyone. Hi everyone, I'm April and you're watching The Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is a book edition. If you hear sizzling noises, it's because I just turned off the chicken on the stove. It's almost dinner time. Anyways, I am going to talk about some books that I read in July and one that I've already started and finished in August, and then what I plan on reading for the rest of August. So let's go ahead and get started. If you are new, I am April. I am here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I am this time talking about books that I've read. Sometimes I also do knitting and crochet videos, but not this time. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about the first book that I finished in July, which I talked about starting this one in the last video, and I did finish this. This was for Private Eye July, and it's Raymond Chandler, The Big Sleep. This was my first Raymond Chandler, and I do have all the books in this series. It's a Philip Marlowe detective series. I really enjoyed this. It was written, I think, 1939, and it's a detective story. It's a guy, he's trying to find out some information because he was hired to do so, but there's all these little twists and red herrings and stuff like that. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed his writing style, and I enjoyed just the whole atmosphere of the late 1930s, early 1940s era of detective. I just had a really good time with it. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it other than I really am planning on getting to the other books in this series. I don't know when, but really love it, and I am going to pass this on to a little free library for someone else to enjoy. Then I picked up, I had started this, no, that's not the first one. I finished this book a couple months ago. This is a series by, Carolyn Kay, and it is the Galisel, that's how I'm pronouncing it because I don't know how to pronounce it. Galisel's Tale, and this was book one called Dienweg. And really small, really short. And then there was the other two books that I finished now in July. The second one was Sikevra, and then the third one was Falana Cyan. And these three books I had gotten at a used bookstore. They had a sale cart outside the store, and I was like, oh, that's an entire series. I don't know what that is, and it looks kind of cool on the covers. I'm gonna get it. Plus it's short. So turns out that this series is set in words just went right out my head, in a steampunk Victorian era, and the main character her name is Galisel, and she is an elf. Now it turns out that there's the hidden lands where all of the fae live. You've got elves and dwarves and all kinds of other fantastical creatures, beings, and then you've got the human world, and there's like a veil in between, and at some point some of the magic had disappeared because of a meteor or something like that, and now the human world interacts regularly with the fae world, and there are tensions. Tensions are happening. War is about to break out. There's a lot of scandal and espionage and stuff like that. And Galisel was an ambassador for the elves in the human world with Queen Victoria. And Queen Victoria was under sort of I don't know about a spell, but she was definitely under the control of a rogue set of elves who were trying to just destroy everybody. And So it turns out that any kind of friendship that the elves had with the humans was just busted. It was just not going to work. So these rogue elves got a hold of Galisel on her way back home, and they snipped off the tips of her elf ears, which is a symbol of the ears are a symbol of status, and how many earrings they have, also symbol of status, and that was all cut off, and that caused her to be seen as an outcast, even though she did nothing wrong herself. People who didn't know the story are going to shun her. And so that leads into the second book, where she's trying to learn how to fight. She's stuck in the castle, but she's got some friends and they're teaching her how to use weapons, learning hand-to-hand combat, all kinds of stuff like that, because she wants to go and fight these rogue elves. So this book is mostly about, gathering information on the rogue elves and what they're planning on doing, as well as her training. And then the last book is, the whole showdown and what's going on, how it's going to get fixed, and if it gets fixed, and all of that kind of stuff. And it was really, really fun. This one is definitely bigger than the other two. But personally, I think that this could have been just one book altogether instead of breaking it up into 3. It didn't feel like there was any reason for it to be separate, but I don't mind. But it could have been just one book, less than 600 pages. But I still really enjoyed it, and the writing of this one is very simplistic, more adolescent, young adults. Like these days when we think young adults, they're quite complex fantasy world. This one is not very complex, and it's written almost like chapter book form, like middle grade chapter book, although the content is definitely young adults. But it read easily. I'm not saying that because it was written more simplistically that it's bad. It's not. It was actually something that I enjoyed in this instance, because sometimes you don't want a very heavy or overly populated kind of fantasy where you just have to use all of your brain, because you got to keep all of the people straight, all of the places straight, everything like that. And this was a very nice, relaxing kind of read, and I really went through them really quickly and had a really good time. So yay for Carolyn K. And these are also going into a little free library, and I'm glad that I got them done so I can put them there as a set. Then I picked up this book that I've had for a little while, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and I didn't know what this was. I simply got it because of the word library. I like libraries. So that's why I picked it up. Turns out it's kind of a heavy book. It's described as, what is that movie? It's probably on here. What do you call it? It's a Wonderful Life. That movie, It's a Wonderful Life, where he wonders how the people around him would be if he never existed, kind of thing. That's kind of what's going on here. This girl or young woman, Nora, is just having an awful time. Lots of bad things are happening. She's depressed, and she decides that she's just going to end it. And she ends up in this place called the Midnight Library, and she meets someone who she takes the form of someone that Nora trusted when she was a young woman, when she was a young girl, her librarian. And the librarian tells her all of the books that are in this Midnight Library are different avenues that you could have taken based on different choices that could have been made in your past. And it's all based on all your regrets. And so she would choose, okay, what do you regret the most? And then a random book would be chosen based on that regret. And then she would hop into this new timeline of her life. And so she goes through all of these different lives. And Yeah, it is a really, 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 really good story, and I was not expecting it to be that deep, but it was so, so good, and I highly recommend. Okay, and then that was my July books. I did have a few audiobooks, but I don't remember what they were. I don't know why I always bring it up if I don't remember. Anyway, I listened to some stuff. I enjoyed it. I might cut that part out, honestly. This is my first August read. Now, I decided that August was going to be adolescent August. I have a few books that are not what we consider young adults these days, because young adult tends to be maybe 16 plus. These books are going to be elementary school through middle school-ish. So this is the first one that I chose, and it's a ghost story called Took by Mary Downing Hahn, and this was from 2015. I actually enjoyed this. It was creepy. Definitely not graphic like you would see in adult horror, but middle grade horror is creepy. And this one really got me. It's about a family who moves into this old dilapidated house because job situation wasn't working, so they moved from where they were in the big city to this place that's more rural and in the mountains. Where is it? What does it say? This is West Virginia. They're somewhere in West Virginia, and the kids there's two kids, a young boy and a little girl. I think the little girl is about 5 years old. Even though they are poor themselves, they're not as poor and poverty stricken as the rest of the people in their area. So they're kind of shunned for the way they dress, for the way they speak, and the parents are not getting along. They don't like the mother doesn't like the choice that's been made for them to move there, but they really had no other choice. But it's causing tension. And then there's this whole neighborhood legend, myth, folktale kind of thing about an old woman who lives in the woods, and they call her auntie, and they call her a conjure woman or a witch, and she's got a pet that they call Bloody Bones, and it's supposedly the bones of a hog that she kind of conjured up to come back alive, but it stands as tall as a man, and it'll do anything she wants, including kidnapping and eating little children. And so there's this legend that 50 years ago, a little girl had been taken, or had been took, the way they speak in this little neighborhood. She was took and never heard from again. But when she was took, another little girl about the same age suddenly showed up, and nobody knew where she had come from, and they put her in an orphanage, and not long after she was in the orphanage, she died. But it was a local legend. And so this family moves there, and all of these kids, people are like, don't go to the woods, stay away from the woods. There's a scary old woman there. She's lived forever, and she's going to do this, that. And this family doesn't believe it. They're like, you're just telling fibs. Until the daughter goes missing, and suddenly another little girl shows up, and things start to happen, and it's just creepy. I really, really enjoyed it, and I went through this really, really fast, and I am a firm believer that as an adult, it's still okay and wonderful to read middle grade books. So speaking of that, it's still August, and I have more time, so I'm going to pick up another book that I have in the adolescent August theme. This is going to be Bunicula by Deborah and James Howe. Now this says a rabbit tale of mystery, and Bunicula, this rabbit's got fangs. So is this Rabbit a vampire? I don't know. What I do know is that this is the first in a series. I don't know that I'm going to read the rest of the series. I don't have them, and I'm not planning on buying them. But this is a very short book, and I think I'm going to enjoy it because who doesn't love rabbits and mysteries? What it says here is Harold the dog and Chester the cat are trying to find out the truth about the new pet in the household, Monroe the rabbit. So this is going to be my next read, and I'm super excited. It's going to be fun. Then I am also going to start a more adultish book, and this is going to be The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. And what is it about? I don't know. It looks like we're going back and forth in different times. It's got 2023 and 1974. Girls trip. There's going to be a girls trip to Italy in the current time, but in the past there was something about a musician renting an Italian villa and somebody ends up dead. So that's going to be exciting. This is one that I picked up at a little free library, so I didn't know what it was, but I liked the cover. I am so shallow. I just get attracted by cool covers, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to read that. So this says New York Times bestseller, or best-selling author, anyways. I just realized this is an advanced reader's edition. Anyways, so that's going to be another read for August. And then if I have time, I keep saying I'm going to get back to this book, but I haven't yet. Blood Orange Brewing, the next book in the Laura Childs Tea Shop Mystery series, set in Raleigh, South Carolina. So that's my plans. That's what I've done. This is what I'm going to do. Books, books, books. Gotta love them. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again next time. And have a good August.